slot A. Yeah. I'm a Harlem shake on your mama, nigga. It's bang hot.
Moved to Chicago, moved to New York for an internship, came back to Michigan after I got evicted, and then I got a chance to meet KT. I got a chance to. It was a lot that happened during that time that was really, really important. Like, I got a chance to see Little Brother live, and that was a big thing that happened to me. Like, it was a big change. And then when I started building with KT and Buff out there, and they started putting me on to people, that's when I actually got a chance to really to be a part of it, to be able to, to be there, listen to it, to go see open mics and really see how hard it was. And then when you came back to Chicago, it was still hard, but it was different. It's still, it was a lot of samples. It was a little bit more finesse. It was different. It was finessed differently. It wasn't as funky. It was kind of straightforward, really hard stuff, but it's really straight. And by straight, I mean really quantized. It's almost kind of like trying to find that mixture of like the Pete Rock boom bap, like swing, but it's also like the Kanye soul sample stuff. It just depends on who you listen to. But when I was in my transition from coming back, the Detroit stuff, just because of how organic and how fresh it was to me, it stayed in my head longer. If you know what I mean, like the looseness of the drums, the bass lines, the not just not just chopping a sample up just to chop it up, but like actually make it really like a song. That was a big thing for me. Back then I used to really overthink records. Like, I always felt there was some kind of stencil you had to follow, but now it's just more so like I move off of my frontal lobe. Like, if I'm not happy doing it, I'll stop, and then I'll go to the next thing. It's not necessarily one of those things where you like back when like the Kanye soul sample joints were hot. You had to have a particular snare, you had to have a particular kick, a particular pattern. And now it's just open now. It's kind of open. Like I'll bounce genres within a couple hours. I'll do something funky, and then I'll come back to some regular boom bap. I might do something like Mantronics or just something older. I think back then I had boundaries. Now it's just more so boundary for what? I kind of go through that with Add To when I'm making certain joints. Like, I know not every song he's gonna like because he has a particular thing that he likes, but I know his ear. And so for me, if I can't play it for him, I know I'm not gonna be able to play it for like everybody else. It was crazy. It's just because of the relationship that we've had over the years, is that I already hear what he's gonna say. Like, nah, it's too choppy. Yeah, it's like, nah, it's too choppy. It's this, it's that, and the third. My ear's tuned a little bit differently than everybody else. It's like, for me to make beats is improv more than anything. I like how this chord lick sounds over this. Let's keep going. And sometimes I have to strip certain things down in order for it to make sense. For some reason, man, it's just probably just me being crazy, but I always like envision like Dilla in the room or something. Dilla like this shit, like, or him or Timbaland's engineer. Absolutely Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster's aggressive as fuck, but like his whole thought process is purely frontal lobe. He likes what he likes, and it could be the same weird ass looking cookie every time, but it's all about euphoria. I don't want to do anything where I have to sit there and think about that shit. Like, the beat that takes 6 hours isn't the beat for me. The beat that takes maybe an hour, but that's really just finishing up, carving out the mixing, that's me. The drum programming is like, it's easy to get a dope bass line depending on if you play or not, and it's easy to get dope melodies and chord progressions, but it's like the skeleton. It's without the skeleton, you just rubber, you're just skin and muscle without, like your muscle doesn't have purpose per se, like it's the thing that really, and it's not necessarily having hard drums, man. Sometimes it's having the right drums. So maybe the hard Ninth Wonder joints ain't gonna work for this. The joint with the hella drum rolls isn't gonna work for this, man. Maybe it's this big ignorant ass kick and like a snap. That works for the record, man. It changes the scope of how the record's gonna sound, particularly if you start getting in there with layering and maybe you pitch and shifting drums a certain way, particularly when certain bass notes hit. It's everything, man. If the drums ain't there, it's pointless. New joint's called High Tide. I just want to push myself to have in a performance. And so some of the beats might sound a little weird until you actually see it live. But in that, I'm really trying to learn the balance of I was watching an interview. They were talking about minimal techno, and he was like, well, the purpose of minimal house, I think it was to find the 4 or 8 bar loop and find the balance between it being repetitious and you wanting to hear it bar 32. So I'm gonna play a little bit with that, as far as keeping certain things simple and really giving you a feeling more so. So it's more so, High Tide is more so like waves of feelings more than anything.